Good. Oh. Okay, that should be better. Okay, here we go, that should be better. Sorry about that, just forgot to join the party there, but good evening everybody and welcome to High Gear round 2 of season 3, and we are in Bahrain for this race. A very, I think, one of the best races, one of the best tracks for league races. I think just a combination of corners and the long straights really makes this track quite entertaining. And we've got the first few cars on track right now. So if anybody could soon let me know if the audio is okay. And yeah, up first we've got RPM Boris. And I'll check the standings now. I haven't really been able to do that. But if I go to the Drivers' Championship, and it is Colin, no surprises there, who leads from Jetfish. So of course only one race, so the gaps aren't too big, so it definitely leaves time for the drivers to catch up who are at the bottom of the standings. But we do have Jetfish who's leading Colin is leading from Jetfish, then Sebastian, then Brent, Luke, and yeah, that's your top 5. And Boris, who is the first one to start a lap, is in P7 in the championship, so let's see what he can do towards turn 1 now. And this track is really difficult in terms of just traction out of corners and grip through some of the corners, especially this one. Very easy to lose traction and down the S's. And Boris is, if I change the details, actually on medium tyres, so we've got quite a few guys running on the medium tyres, which is definitely quite interesting. I think this track is quite high on tyre degradation, so some of them might want to start on the harder compounds and maybe go longer into the race. So we already see Boris really struggling for traction there out of the left-hander. I think that's turn 9 or 10 or something. Yeah, unfortunately TAS is not set up, so we won't get the extra telemetry, but that's okay, we still should be just fine. But the drivers won't get their telemetry at the end of the race. not that I don't think anyone looks at that anyway, but we've got Boris who's finished his lap first, but Craig actually beats it on the soft tyre for 1:27.3, so that is our benchmark so far. Next up we've got the Red Bull of Deck, who's coming round, and he sets a 1:28.3, so not too far between the Red Bull cars. But Captain Maisel goes pole with a 1:27.2 provisionally. We've got Andrew next, who goes P5, Dennis goes P4, and a lot of these drivers are on mediums. We've got Higgsy going all the way up into P2 there, and we've got Sebastian, his teammate, just finishing his lap, and he goes up into provisional pole for 1:26.7. So and Colin beats out for 1:25.9, so the lap time is definitely coming in thick and fast here. We've got Spinola MP8, and we've really got 5 drivers who've finished the lap on medium tyres. Bakar up next, and he's unfortunately invalidated, and Luce is starting his lap now. We've got Brent, who should be coming up next then, on his medium tyres. So a lot of drivers already on mediums, but Colin with provisional pole by about 0.8 of a second. So I think Colin already showing pace there on the soft, so he won't really have a chance to fit the mediums anymore. He'll have to stick with the faster compound. But yeah, interesting that so many people have chosen the mediums. The strategy is really, they could play into anyone's favour in this track, especially with safety cars and just the tyre degradation being a bit high. So yeah, it could benefit the medium runners. I think a lot of these guys will try to do the one stop. Maybe, yeah, maybe the two stop, but I think I found that the one stop was definitely the better strategy. Brent does not finish his lap on the soft, or on the medium tyre, should I say. He comes into the pits. And we've got Lucis finishing his first lap of the night down in P15, but on the soft, let's see what he could do. Opens his DRS and across the line, and he goes P3, so that's a big jump for Lucis in the Alpine, a 1:27.0, and from 4th all the way down to 6th really isn't a big gap, as we've got a retirement there that was down to Brandon in the Aston Martin, who's unfortunately retired, so that is not going to help his chances for the race, unfortunately. But again, you never know if the strategy of this track. I think we saw yesterday, I forgot who it was, but someone came from near last on the grid and got all the way up into the points with driver of the day as well. So starting from the back, if you get your strategy right, it really won't be too much of a problem on this track, especially because of the long straights, the DRS zones, making it much easier to overtake compared to other tracks. And we have Spinola going out on his lap now. Bakker is about to start a lap, so we've got loads of cars there, but Bakker is about to start his lap, so let's hope he get out of his way. Into turn 1, very heavy braking zone here, and he hits the apex nicely, and all the other drivers are getting out of his way, which is good to see. He might have got a bit of a slipstream from the Alfa Romeo there, and down to turn 4, really difficult corner this, but Bakker seems to have done it quite nicely. And now through the S's and down to this really tricky corner here, but hits the apex really nicely and gets quite a lot of traction out of it. Now let's double left-hander, very easy to lock up, but again Bakker keeping it very nice and tidy, and he'll get, I think, a small slipstream benefit from that Alfa Romeo ahead. And this does seem like a pretty good lap from the McLaren driver. His teammate up in P7, so he'll be wanting to join FCT. And again, he's getting a slipstream, so not bad having the car ahead of him. Brent, that is, and he's going to finish his lap. Let's see where Bakker could go. And he goes up into P3, so that's a great lap from the McLaren driver. And Brent has just started his lap as well. We've got Boris, who I think is backed off and not set a competitive lap time just yet. We've got Dennis on his lap 3 times up on its personal best. Now for the double left-hander again for the Mercedes driver. And down this long straight. Yeah, these corners really, this corner coming up with the right hander, really difficult to but really easy, should I say, to lose traction. So, but yeah, all these drivers are doing very well so far. Dennis coming around the final corner now at the end of the lap. Brent has retired on his lap. See if we can catch that. Oh, and that's a big crash. Just like Banter Brandon into the barrier. Actually on the corner that I said was really easy to lose traction. And Dennis in the Mercedes goes P4. Craig is going to finish his lap on the medium track. He might have had to back off there because of his teammate, and he's coming into the pits. We've got Captain Meisel, who is invalidated in FCT. Oh, Bakker is actually coming towards... No, he's pit. Oh, getting very close there. Colin goes even faster over 1:25.6. And FCT coming towards the end of his lap now. Not also coming towards the end of his lap in the Mercedes. He goes P5, so not a lot between the two Mercedes drivers. And FCT goes into P2. So 3 tenths ahead of the Mercedes drivers actually. That's a very good lap from him. Boris goes into the pits again after invalidating. So yeah, really well, Boris will have to try and do a lap as quick as possible with 6 minutes to go. Deck goes into P5 and Sebastian is going to start his lap now in the Alpha Tauri. And I'll check. So Sebastian is in P3, only 9 points behind Jetfish there in the Drivers' Championship. And Jetfish is not racing this race, so if both Sebastian and Colin could get a good position, this will really help. Because of course Jetfish is getting 0 points this race. And Sebastian doing pretty well this lap, nice and tidy. And well, the Ferrari I just noticed only have one driver as well, so Colin will definitely be wanting a good result just to maximize the points that are going to be lost in the Constructors' I meant just to minimize the the points that will be lost in the Constructors' Championship. Towards the final corner, Sebastian goes. Let's see what he does on his first soft across the line, and he goes P2. He gets FCT by a whole 3 tenths of a second. So that's very good from the Alpha Tauri driver, but still 5 tenths behind Colin. And oh, it looks like his teammate has spun. Just getting back going again. And a lot of drivers in the pits waiting for their final runs. We've got Boris, who's in P13 and really hasn't set a competitive time yet, on a fresh set of softs and out on the track. Interesting to see what he could do. He's in P7 in the Drivers' Championship, so he'll be wanting a good job tonight. And of course it all starts in qualifying, so let's see what the Red Bull driver can do with a 1:28.2, his current fastest time. But I think that would be fairly easily beaten. Around in the final corner now to start his lap. And with 3 minutes 40 to go, so if he messes this one up, he'll probably have time for one more lap. But down in P13, I think he'll want to really make this count into turn 1. It's going to be very difficult to get traction out of. I found myself spinning a lot out of turn 3 on turn 2. But nicely done from the Red Bull driver. And now into turn 4. The Williams getting out of his way there. While trying the best to get out of his way. I'm not sure if that costed Boris anything. But Boris seems to be on a pretty good lap so far. I thought it was going wide there, but it gets the car rotated nicely. And quite a few drivers out on track now for their final runs. because there's only 2 minutes 40 to go. So I think all these drivers who will just come out of the pits, they'll only have time for one more lap. But Boris 1 second up on his personal best, so if it stays like this, he will be getting a 1:27.2, which will, well, put him right behind Lucist or Captain Mazel. Jerez wide open. Let's see what Boris could do, and he goes P6. 1:26.6 is the lap time, so he's 1.6, I think that was, faster, which is a good lap from him. We've got Craig next on his lap. He's 500th of a second up on his personal best lap time in the Alfa Romeo. Let's see what he could do. Now he's unfortunately down in this time, and he goes a bit wide there. He doesn't invalidate, but that may have cost him a bit of time going wide. Towards the final corner, heavy braking zone. You'll have to try and really maximize the time gained on the exit. And he stays P13. We've got Andrew next, who is just faster in the second sector than his previous best. So let's see what the Alpine driver can do. Oh, you're hitting a bit of a lock up there into the left-hander, but he gets it around pretty nicely. Doesn't hit the apex, just being a bit careful into this long right-hander, and again goes very wide there. He doesn't invalidate, but that could have cost him a bit of time. We have a spin, and I think that's Bakker, unfortunately, in the McLaren, up in P4, and Andrew nearly 5 times up on his lap time, and he crosses the line now in 9th place with a 1:26.2. And we've got Brian finishing, Cressy should I say. He goes faster, but not by enough, so he's now 2 tenths behind the Alpha Tauri driver, and he's backing off, so I don't think he's going to be able to complete another lap. So I think that might be qualifying over for him. We got Dennis on just about to start a lap in Spinola. I think that could have been a purple sector 2 there, I'm not too sure. Let's see what the Mercedes driver can do coming around the final corner. Higgsy goes up into P11, and Spinola then driving for Mercedes goes up into P2, just clears Sebastian with a 1:26.1. So maybe Sebastian might have benefited from just doing that one extra lap. Oh, and that's a big crash for Higgsy. I just caught that, and he's out of qualifying. I think he might have wanted to go on another lap there, but yeah, out of turn 3. I said it was very easy to lose traction there, and it shows. Okay, a very big hit into the wall, and the Alpha Tauri driver is out of qualifying down in P12. Dennis getting very much on the curb there. Colin again goes fastest with a 1:25.5, and I think FCT, yep, he's slowing down. So the next driver to complete that lap will be Dennis in the Mercedes. Let's see what he could do coming around the final corner now. And opens the DRS, and it's going to be a 1:26.6, so he does improve on his lap time. I think that was Lucas just finishing his lap in the Alpine with a 1:26.6, but it is Colin on pole again, really showing his pace. So 1:25.5, a whole 6 tenths ahead of Spinola in the Mercedes. So, I mean, if he could gain 6 tenths every single lap, then, well, he wouldn't by a whole country mile. We saw in Canada, he checked out like every single time the safety car ended. And I think if all goes his way, then that might just happen again. But yeah, that is the end of qualifying. And Spinola in the Ferrari again. I mean, Colin should I say, in the Ferrari again on pole from Spinola, and then Sebastian in the AlphaTauri completes your top 3. And Spinotla, I'm pretty sure, is reserve driver for high gear, so he's really doing well. Up in P2 there. And yeah, he came third last time out. So second in qualifying now. Let's see what Spinotla can do in the race. But yeah, so here's our qualifying order then. So we've got Colin in P1, 6/10 faster than Spinotla. Then we've got Sebastian, FCT, Lucis, Dennis, Becker, Deck, Boris, Andrew, Captain Maisel, Higgsy. Unfortunately crashed at the end of the session, but still managed to set a lap time. Craig, Richard, Banter, Brandon, and DTR Brent, both of them with no lap times to their name, unfortunately, after retiring. Both at the same corner, actually. So yes, hopefully we have an incident-free corner come the race. And of course we don't have TAS, but it is a desert here in Bahrain, so I'm guessing it's going to be a dry race. It'd be surprising if it's not, but it'll definitely make the race a bit more entertaining if it's not, because, well, unless you're doing time trial or whatever, and even then you wouldn't do it. Like, I don't think anyone's really driven Bahrain in the wet all too often. So if it does somehow rain, then that's going to make the race very exciting, but again, I doubt it will. So then, the tyre choice, well, of course the top 10 on soft tyres, and then the bottom 6 on medium tyres, so it's definitely not a split strategy there. It's just soft for the front and medium for the bottom. So if Captain Maisel and all the guys behind manage to maybe make use of the medium tyres, then this could really benefit them, because they'll be on fresher tyres towards the end of the race, and they will be on faster tyres towards the end of the race maybe. So Captain Maisel might not be in a bad position here, but of course the predicted pit stop strategy is a 2-stop. I think a lot of people opt to go for the 1-stop, but either way the bottom 6 will be on faster and fresher tyres towards the end. But it's just a question of the top guys, their pace at the start of the race, because if they're really fast, then they'll just check out from the rest of the pack, and then strategy will just play into their hands. But of course, safety cars could happen at any point in the race, which will really change the order of things as they're coming to the end of the lap now. So we've got Colin in pole from Spinotla, then Sebastian, FCT, Lucis, Dennis, Becker, Deck, Boris, and then Andrew. And then for the medium runners, we've got Captain Maisel, Higgsy, Craig, Richard, Bouncer Brandon, and Brent to complete our grid. And they're all lining up on the grid now. Definitely quite a long race, this one, as I found out last race yesterday, just trying to look after the tyres, and it's very, very important to look after the tyres so you don't lose it around some of these corners. So let's see how this race goes. Hopefully it's a clean start. We've got the lights coming on now. We've got 5 lights on, and it slides out, and away we go. And it looks like Colin gets a good start. The Mercedes driver will be alongside him then, going into turn 1. Spinola up the inside, the side by side. Can Colin maybe hang it around the outside, who have the inside line for turn 2, and it does keep the position. But will Spinola try and come back? There's a lot of fighting going on behind. No incidents so far, so it's been a clean start. And everyone now kind of going single file, except for behind. Oh, and Boris nearly loses it there in the Red Bull. And I think Hingsy trying to go up the inside of Captain Miser, but just backing out there. But out in front, we have got Colin leading 6/10 from Spinola. The two Red Bulls are fighting, and I think Deck keeps ahead of Boris there. But Boris definitely not far behind. So let's see if they fight here, or if they want to play the team game and try and attack the guys ahead together. Deck going a bit wide there. Boris might have a good one. Andrew also going wide. And Boris does get the better exit, and up the inside he goes into the final corner and up into P8 for the Red Bull driver. Spinola still keeping close behind Colin. But of course Colin is so fast, so it'll be hard to keep up for too long. Definitely. And it's kind of all single file now. It's going to be a big slipstream train. Maybe until DRS comes into play. Brent and Andrew touching there. Brent in the medium tyres from last place on the grid all the way up into P10 already. There's an off there for Richard, who gets back going again. Not sure if he has any damage, but Brent, a great start from P16 all the way up into P10 there on the medium tyres as well, and already getting past one soft runner, so that will really help his race. And well, Colin already 1.2 seconds ahead of Spinola there, so great start from him as always, and building the gap as early as possible. And again, this is a predicted strategy. This is predicted strategy for Brent, so his strategy is to go hard to the end around lap 13, which is definitely possible. They'll be on the slower tyres towards the end of the race. And FCT getting very close to Spinola, so could Spinola lose a position on the straight here? I think they're both going to be using a bit of their ERS. FCT I think is slowly gaining, but he's a bit too far behind to make the move into turn 1, as DRS is enabled and he does stay behind. But Spinola won't have DRS on this second straight here, so this will really help FCT as he opens the DRS here, but he'll be a bit too far behind to get the moves on into turn 4. He'll have to wait until the next opportunity. The Red Bull is still really close, and Baka actually very close to Lucist, who's also very close to Dennis. And Sebastian and the top 4 really checked out from the guys behind. There's already a 2-second gap from Dennis to Sebastian. Man, look how close FCT is, but I think again this straight is not that long, so he'll be a bit too far back to make the move into this corner. And I think Higsy and Captain Miles are fighting there, and Craig might want to get involved as well. He tries around the outside but just has to back out of it there. And FCT getting ever so close to Spinola now. Only 3 tenths separate the two cars. Oh, and Spinola nearly loses it there. That's going to allow FCT to get a very good exit. And with DRS, they're going to be side by side, and I think FCT is going to get it before the braking zone, and he does up into P2. Lucius also going up the inside of Dennis there, and Baka trying to go around the outside. He's going to maybe have a better exit on the Mercedes driver. There's an Alpine going very wide there in turn 1. And there's Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri fighting behind as well. And it looks like a three-way battle there. Captain Michael going up the inside, and it's going to be 3 wide. Higgsy getting the switch back on both of them. That's a great move if he can keep it. They're going to be side by side, the Alfa Romeo and the Alfa Tauri into the S section. Higgsy going all over the curb there, and Higgsy just having to give way, but gets past the Williams driver, and Andrew has retired. I'm not sure where that was. There might have been contact. I'm not sure. I think he might have lost it on the wall, maybe traction, but that is a safety car, and that was a great fight from the guys behind before that safety car. And Higgsy, I think that was a beautiful switch back there, not able to get Craig but still able to get Captain Maisel, and that was a great move from him. But Colin nearly 5 seconds ahead of FCT before the safety car came in 4 laps as well. So it was 4 laps in 5 seconds. That's really good. But he does come into the pits. FCT comes into the pits. Spinola comes into the pits. Sebastian comes into the pits. So does Lucis. Brent stays out. I guess medium runners will stay out just to make their strategy work. There's no point going on mediums and then pitting to softs on lap so early on into the race. And all of these guys who have pit have gone on to mediums except for Baka. So Baka definitely the odd one out then on softs. Let's see what he'll do. He definitely can't make it to the end unless he goes at snail pace, but he'll definitely be faster. I mean, no, he does have pace in this McLaren, so I think he'll be faster at the safety car restart, but it's just about the rest of his strategy and making that work. So Brent inherits the lead then from Panther Brandon, and then Craig, Higgsy and Captain Maisel. So the top 5 are all on 4 lap hold mediums, trying to make their strategy work. No, everyone's on mediums except for softs. I mean, except for Baka, should I say, who's on softs. So if Baka could just try to maximize his pace after the safety car restart, then he'll have a great shot of getting ahead of these guys ahead of him who are on the medium tires, because at the end of the race he'll be on the slower. I'm guessing he'll pit to another set of medium tires and go to the end, and if he does, then he'll be on the slower tire at the end compared to everyone else. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not very good on this strategy thing, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And I think we've only had the safety car for 1 lap, so it might go around again. And yes, it will go around for 1 more lap, and then the race will be restarted. But yeah, now of course these cars definitely look very different from the 2022 cars. Yeah, of course we're not going to be seeing these again in real life. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the 2022 game. These cars are much faster, and I'm definitely going to miss the look of these cars, because I think they look, in my opinion, the 2017 to 2021 era of F1 cars are very good looking. So yeah, it's definitely going to be missed, but we'll still have them in the league races for another few months before the new game comes out. And these cars are very much faster. I think easier to handle probably than the 2022 cars. So when the new game comes out, I think I'm definitely going to really struggle to adapt to the new cars and the way they handle. Of course, they're slower in the corners. I'm not sure about the straights. I think they're about the same speed in the straights, but slower in the corners. But with the whole porpoising thing, or whatever it's called. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work in the game, but definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, so I think the safety car will come in this lap, hopefully. I really have nothing to say right now. Nothing's that's the problem with the safety cars. Nothing's really happening, and everyone's on the same strategy except for backers, so can't really comment too much on that. But it will be coming in this lap, and it's confirmed by race control that it will be coming in this lap. And I'm interested to see what Bakker can do on his soft tyres, and everyone getting very close there. They'll have to be careful not to overtake each other, otherwise the game could glitch out a bit. But Brent should I say, is going to lead the pack into Alfa Romeo. The 4 cars behind him all on the same tyre life, so it's all going to be about raw pace here. And Brent goes just at the exit of the last corner. Brandon will have a nice slipstream down to turn 1. They're both, I think all the cars are going to be using their ERS, and Brandon not close enough to get the move done. We've got a bit of fighting going on here. We've got Spinola getting overtaken by FCT. I think FCT was just defending that position there. Bakker gets up into P13, and FCT now trying to go up the inside of Spinola. That was nearly a 3-wide moment. Sebastian getting a nice switchback move on Captain Meisel. So Captain Meisel has been switched back at the same corner 2 times this race now, unfortunately for him. Bakker up into P13. And Lucis trying to go around the outside into Captain Meisel. Into the sub left-hander, and he gets the move done. He goes a bit wide there, but gets a nice exit. Does the Alpine driver, should I say. And then he's trying to go around the outside of Captain Meisel, and Captain Meisel is in a lot of positions on his worn medium tyres. Let's see what Bakker could do. Bakker is under pressure by RPM Deck there, but Bakker is on the soft tyres. Let's see what he could do. Fighting going on at the front between Higsy and FCT. FCT going up the inside of Higsy and up into P5, so I think this has been quite a good restart from the McLaren driver. Spinola also getting past the Alpha Tauri, who is on the worn tyres, and his teammate getting past there, and Higsy not fighting it too much. Richard going up the inside of Captain Meisel, and just about gets the car slowed down fast enough. Bakker actually he might have got damage there onto hards, and FCT is spun around. I'm not sure how much damage he has. I don't think he has any damage, but he had a great safety car restart, and that's all just gone down the drain, unfortunately. The 2 McLaren drivers now down in plumb last place, unfortunately for them. And Brandon sticking with Brent here. Of course, DRS not enabled this lap. I think it will be enabled next lap. Yeah, again, the straight a bit too short to be able to make the move. Captain Meisel and Richard again fighting. Richard losing 2 positions, and RPM Deck now is very close to Captain Meisel. And again, these guys on the Warner 7-lap-old medium tyres are really struggling compared to all the other guys on 2-lap-old mediums. And Deck getting better exits out of every corner. Boris right behind as well. DRS is enabled this lap, and Captain Meisel, Captain Meisel is losing a lot of speed out of the exits compared to the Red Bull driver. He's going to go up the inside and make the position before. Well, he's actually side by side. Captain Meisel was able to gain a bit on the straight, but it looks like he has conceded the position to RPM Deck, and Boris now very close. Spinola, so going up the inside, Craig trying to hold it all the way around the outside, but unable to do that. Boris might get the better exit, but he won't be able to get past just yet, and he'll have to wait until the straight, unless he can maybe make the move now. He might go for it. but just backs out. And Colin already up into P3 and pressurizing the the Aston Martin all the way down to this left-hander. Boris actually got past Richard there. And up into P12 for the Red Bull driver. But Brent will be under serious pressure from the two cars behind, especially Colin, who has the fresher tyres and DRS and double slipstream to play with as well, coming towards the end of the 9th lap. We've got 19 laps to go. They both open up their DRS, but Colin has a great exit out of the final corner and does make the position. He might be side by side with Brent into the first corner. He's not able to make the move on the Alfa Romeo, and he's a bit too far back to make it into turn 4. Brent defending to the inside, and Colin on special tyres, and you can just see he's got much more grip than the Alfa Romeo driver. Deck and Captain Meisel still fighting on Spinoza, trying to defend from Craig there and Sebastian. But Colin is very close to Brent and almost pushing him along there, getting really close, and Brent losing the exit out of the left-hander. Colin gets an excellent run. He's going to try and go around the outside and into the lead if he can keep it, and he does keep it into the lead for Colin once again. And I think from here on he'll definitely be able to build a bit of a gap to all the cars behind. And Dennis also very close to Lucas as well, and now that DRS has come into play, it's going to help the drivers behind massively. And Sebastian very close to Craig, who doesn't have DRS on the car. No, he does have DRS, but Sebastian with the slipstream pulls out to the right hand side. They're going to be side by side going to turn 1. Sebastian's made the move, and I think he might get DRS again, so that's just going to make Craig's life even more difficult. FCT fighting with Richard and getting up the inside into turn 1. Richard's on 10 lap of mediums, so as the rest of the medium runners who haven't pit yet. And Sebastian definitely getting close to Spinoza in the Mercedes. He will have DRS, but I think again it'll be a bit too far back. Dennis is very close to Lucis, but again the straight is so short. Craig's on 10 lap old tyres, so he's doing decently to defend from the guys behind. And all these medium runners who haven't pit yet will have to pit pretty soon. I'm guessing they're stretching it out maybe to go for the 1 stop, I'm not too sure. We'll see when the time comes to pit. But Craig, I think, has just missed out on DRS, I'm not sure. Backer, I think maybe half spun there or something. And Lucis getting very close. Yeah, Craig didn't get DRS, and Lucis going up the inside. Dennis might also try and go up the inside. Careful not to hit Lucis. I think they made a bit of contact there. The Mercedes going to have the line around the outside and get up into P7. And Craig not able to fight it back on his worn tyres. And now it's going to be Lucis who, unless he gains on Sebastian by 2 tenths, isn't going to have DRS. I see the flags, and that's Craig who's gone off. Not lost too much time. FCT gets up the inside. Lucky not to hit the barrier there. And yeah, Lucis won't have DRS, so this will just help Dennis. Dennis at the, I think the main straight might be when he tries to make an overtake. And Sebastian also still close to Spinoza. not able to make the move just yet, but Spinoza without DRS, so this will help Sebastian, definitely help him quite a lot. And out of the final corner now, and he will have DRS. He's going to gain a lot towards the end of the straight, and look how much he's gaining. Will he be close enough to make the move up into turn 1? It's not like defense to the inside. Boris and Deck fighting, and Dennis and Lucius also fighting there. Oh, and Dennis gets a great exit out of turn 3 it is, and gets around the outside into turn 4. That was a great move from the Mercedes driver, and Sebastian not able to challenge Spinoza just yet. I think Spinoza defended quite nicely into turn 1 there, and that just allowed him to gain a bit of time before the straight. And yeah, I think in the middle sector it's really difficult to get close to the car ahead, which means on this straight you won't be close enough to make a move. So I think the only really good taking opportunity is into turn 1, and even that sometimes it is difficult because it takes so long to gain on the straight. And as we saw with Sebastian, he just wasn't able to get alongside before turn 1. And yeah, FCT getting the better exit and slipstream into the final corner, and FCT won't have DRS, so could Captain Miser and the Williams come back. FCT also doesn't have any DRS. They tried going up the Krieger's pit, so the first one of the warm medium runners to pit, and he goes on to hard to the end, which is interesting. So one stop, but not onto soft, so he'll be on the slower tyres towards the end, but again he will only have to stop once. And if the other guys stop twice, then of course that will benefit him. Brandon now very close to Brent as well. Colin 1.2 ahead of Brent, so he will not get the benefit of the DRS here. So this will really help the Aston Martin driver get past. He gets very wayward out of the penultimate corner, but they still have DRS and they are on the same tyres in terms of tyre life. 13 laps for both of them, and it's getting ever so slightly closer. We try to make a move up to turn 1 again, it's just a bit too far behind, but we'll get the DRS all the way up into turn 4, but I don't think it's close enough. He's definitely not close enough because the corner, turn 4, comes so quickly. Dennis getting up the inside of Lucius, then they're still fighting the run up into turn 4, and Lucius just keeps the position. I think Lucius has been doing some great defending over the last few laps, keeping Dennis behind, and so Spinoza is still not able to get past Sebastian. Sebastian's still not able to get past Spinoza, and Dennis has spun on the curb of the S's. I nearly crashed with Captain Miser coming back onto the track, and from 7th place all the way down to 11th place for the Mercedes driver, unfortunately. Yeah, very easy to make mistakes along the course of this lap and along the course of this race as well. Sebastian still close to Spinoza, and Sebastian just has to make sure he's within about 5/10 or maybe even 4/10 of Spinoza coming out of the final corner if he wants a good chance for the overtake into turn 1. And look, it's about 6/10 behind, so it's going to be difficult because they're both using but Smirnoff isn't using it. Smirnoff is having to use a lot of VRS, and that might disadvantage him towards the end of the race. Craig gets a penalty and Smirnoff goes very wide through turn 1, and look how close Sebastian is now with DRS. He isn't using any of his battery though, and just not able to get close enough into turn 4. Deck also very close to Boris. But yeah, he'll have to wait a bit before he gets moved on. Sebastian still close to Smirnoff, unless maybe he could get close on the exit of this left-hander. He seems very confident through this corner. And he does have DRS, but again, not close enough to make the overtake. And this is a problem I found yesterday. Smirnoff goes very wayward there, and Sebastian is very close to him. I was going to say, this is a problem I found yesterday. It was easy to get close to someone, but it was really difficult to use the DRS to get past them, because you just couldn't get close to them into turn 1. But Sebastian now really close to Smirnoff, and I think this is his best chance to get past. Brandon gets past Brent, and Smirnoff does get overtaken by Sebastian. The Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin are going to be fighting all the way up into turn 4. Brent does have DRS, and he's going to try and go around the outside. They're going to be side by side. Brent just has to concede the position there. 16 lap old mediums. These guys are really stretching their tyres out. But up into P2 for Brandon, and Smirnoff now, I think, will be disappointed with that mistake there, because that did definitely cost him the position. But he'll be trying to fight back, and I think Smirnoff is quite good at keeping close to the car ahead. But he goes very wide into the left-hander and gets a poor exit, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver, with a bit of dirty air there, and not able to make the move back into this left-hander. But look how close Brent is to the Aston Martin, and I think we might see some pit stops soon with second and third place. Because I think, as much as they're fighting now, I think strategy might just get them the race result they want. But neither of them have pit yet. I think they're opting to go to soft to the end, or just stay out for the rest of the race. And Brent does go up the inside of the Aston Martin. He's stuck his nose on the outside, and is now very close on the run up to turn 4. He's gonna try and go up the inside, and he does so, but not able to get a switchback. And Boris going up the inside of FCT, and they're getting the position as well. Just a double overtake for the Red Bull boys. They're not going to want to trip over each other too much, and Boris slots behind the Red Bull driver. Deck does go a bit wide there, but so does FCT. And FCT getting overtaken twice there in, well, one corner and one straight, unfortunately, for the McLaren driver. These Red Bull drivers are really making FCT's life difficult. And Dennis now is very, very close to the McLaren driver. But they're all going to have slipstream and DRS, so it'll be a bit difficult for Dennis to get past FCT. And let's see how well Boris can stick to his teammate. I'm not sure if they're going to use a bit of teamwork or just fight it out until the end of the race. Oh, and Brent does go into the pits there. And of course, I think he has to pit actually, because he has to switch compounds, which is the rule that you have to be on two sets of, you have to be on two compounds in one race. You can't just be on the same one. So we've got FCT pitting, Deck pitting in the Red Bull, Kingsley goes up into P11. So that means Richard and Bantam Brandon will have to pit. And Bantam Brandon might lose a bit of time to Brent there. We've got yellow flags, and that's Lucis who's hit the wall. And hits the wall again, unfortunately, trying to get his car around. And he's been having a great race so far, but just a late mistake for him, unfortunately costing him. But luckily for him, he didn't retire. Lucis gets a penalty for exceeding track limits, a 10-second penalty. So yeah, definitely not fair on him, because he definitely didn't gain out of that. He lost all the time. So to get a penalty, not the best for him. Colin goes into the pits with quite a big buffer. Well, actually, Spinola's going to get past him in the pits, so Colin will have his work cut out to do to gain back the time lost through this pit stop. But the top two will be losing a lot of time, because they're just going to be fighting the whole time, as they have been the whole race. Brent does get past Bantam Brandon in the pit stops by quite some margin actually as well. Look at that gap. So that's really cost Bantam Brandon has that undercut from Brent, and that is just the power of the undercut, pitting early onto fresh tyres and gaining a big gap through your pit stop phase and your out lap. Richard has unfortunately retired in the pits, so we've got 2 DNFs in this race. And Sebastian keeping close to Spinoza, but as we've seen a lot throughout this race, just unable to get past. But he's not too far behind the Mercedes driver now, and Spinoza having to use a lot of his ERS to keep ahead. He's at 30% compared to Sebastian 70%, and with DRS and with slipstream. Spinoza heavily defending. And Sebastian goes into the pits there. So he's going to be on soft to the end. Colin's going to move up into P2. Brent gets the fastest lap, and surely Spinoza would just want to stick this one out then. Colin, I'm not sure what Spinoza is going to do here, because he could either stay out and settle for P2 or P3, or pit onto but if he pits onto the soft tyres, everyone else around him is on such soft tyres anyway, so it's not going to benefit him too much. So I guess the best thing for him to do is just stay out, but we'll see what happens. Colin is gaining. He gains about 1 second in one sector though, so Colin still has it in him to win this race, as he did in the last one. And Sebastian really far behind Bantam Brandon, so he pit, but he didn't really gain too much out of it. I guess he'll see if he can go for the fastest lap or something now though. Wait, he's 11 seconds behind Bantam Brandon. Did he make a mistake or something? Oh wait, no. Sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up. Brent and Bantam Brandon were fighting. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And look at the gap. Now Colin goes a bit wide into turn 1. But that's just Colin's things. Maybe that is the fastest line out of turn 1, I'm not too sure. But Colin 1.5 seconds behind Spinoza, so what, in one lap he's gained about 4 seconds, which is crazy. And he's gaining so much. Gained 2/10 in the S section, another 2/10 actually out of this corner, and he's now got DRS. And I think Spinoza is gonna want to defend this, but Colin will just have the upper hand in all aspects. So let's see what the Ferrari driver could do to inherit the lead once again. And he's in the slipstream, but I guess he'll just wait till the DRS. Straight. Then into the final corner now. Deck gets past Higgsy, and so let's see what Spinola does. He's going to stay out, of course, but Colin, yeah, just a great exit. Pulls alongside before DRS actually, but I guess he moves on, and Colin retakes the lead of the race from Spinola. Brent not too well. Brent is 5.5 seconds behind, so Spinola still has a great chance of P2 here. This is well, the yellow flag for Spinola, but oh, I think he might have half run or something, because Brent has gained 2.5 seconds on him. So I said that Spinola still has a chance of second place, but Brent now very, very close. 1.8 seconds the gap now. The two Red Bulls are fighting. I think they may have swapped positions or something, because the gap is quite big. The yellow flags again, but yeah, I don't think that the yellow flags were needed. Lucis just getting very close to Higgsy, who's just come out of the pits. Lucis on the medium tyres does have DRS, but Higgsy does have the soft tyre. I mean, side by side, and that's contact there. I think Lucis, yeah, just on his, well, he has medium tyres with less grip, and he just understeered into Higgsy, unfortunately, for Lucis. And I think the RPM driver has had a great race until he spun, unfortunately for him. Brandon very close to Brent, but Brent also has DRS now from Spinola. We've got 5 laps to go, and Spinola will be hanging on to dear life to try and keep this podium. With the penalty situation, only 2 people have penalties. Lucius was unfair, and Craig, unfortunately, for track limits. So it's just all gonna be about pace. Nothing. It's not gonna go down to penalties, because no one has penalties. Oh, Brandon goes for a late move around the outside and gets squeezed a bit by Brent. A bit of contact, but no damage for the 2 drivers. Oh, that might have been damage though. It's a big hit from the Aston Martin driver into Brent on his right end plate. I don't think he has any damage. I don't see any wings flying about anywhere. Brent getting very close to Spinola, but Spinola actually placing his car perfectly there to defend the position into the left-hander, and now into the long right-hander. Spinola is going to have to be careful not to spin there with his one-out tyres. And Brent really hounding the Mercedes driver. Yeah, just on this fresher tyres really. Nothing Spinola can really do on this straight, because Brent does have the DRS. Brandon goes into the pits. I think he did have damage there, unfortunately for the Aston Martin driver. Spinola is going to get overtaken by DTR Brent, who's going to go back up the inside. He will have DRS, will Spinola, but I think going up the inside there just lost him so much time on the Alfa Romeo driver, who's already 8 tenths ahead of him. But with a 9.2 second gap, the podium can still be on for Spinola, who is a reserve driver in high gear. So for P3, it's a great result, and P2 in qualifying. I think this has just been an all-round great race and qualifying for the Mercedes driver of Spinola. The Red Bull drivers still fighting. I think we saw this in Canada maybe as well, where the Red Bull drivers are fighting. I'm not sure, but they're back at it once again. Boris has one lap on special tyres, and Deck will not want to be doing that again. As he goes a bit wide, and will lose a bit of time on the exit, but with DRS he'll be able to stick with his teammate. And Captain Meisel 2 tenths behind Craig with DRS. I think he might go for the move up into his left-hander and then gets the position and before the corner even. Dennis getting a penalty, fighting with FCT, I think it is. So let's go on hold with them. And it looks like FCT and Dennis able to close up to the Red Bull drivers. FCT with DRS gonna go up the inside of the Red Bull, but Deck does have a bit of slipstream from his teammate. Is FCT gonna go up the inside anyway? He is going to. They're still side by side. Deck just defending a position there. Oh, there's a crash. Oh, and into the wall there goes FCT. Deck able to continue, and Deck really squeezed FCT there. And the McLaren driver is out, and we do have a safety car. With 3 laps to go. Oh, and Spinoza. I think he'll just have to pit ahead. He can't stay out. If he stays out, he'll just lose so much. Actually, I tried to do this last season. I tried to stay out. I was in the same situation as Spinoza. I was in first position on worn out tyres while everyone else was on softs. I didn't decide to pit. I lost like plenty of positions. Then I wouldn't recommend staying out, definitely. Because Spinoza will just be so slow off the safety car restart, and everyone else behind him will be on fresher tyres. He does go into the pits, so does the top 2 onto fresh soft for them. Sebastian is going to go into the pits. So I think everyone might just go into the pits then. Let's see what Boris does. I mean, he'll stay out and he'll inherit 2nd place then. So I guess not a bad job. Dennis couldn't pit anyway because of FCT was in the pits. Well, Boris does come out in P3, not P2. Dennis comes out in P4 and Spinoza comes out in P5. Bunch of Brandon in P6, Sebastian, Deck and Beck are all pitting. Deck had slight wing damage there, so I guess the safety car came good because he was able to after the incident with FCT, he was able to pit for a new front wing backer in P11. So yeah, mostly everyone is pit, and I think those guys who haven't pit, they're really gonna feel it because they're gonna be on worn soft tyres. I think soft tyres only go around 10 laps anyway, so they'll be worn, but of course they'll be able to make it to the end just with a bit of difficulty. And I think the safety car will have to come in this lap, even though the grid is still quite spread out. I don't think this game allows for 1 lap sprints, unfortunately. So Lucius will lose a lot of time, and I don't think we'll be able to gain him. But I mean, he might be able to gain him back actually. But he will just have to push, as he is doing. Yeah, safety car is in this lap. So Lucius, unfortunately, might lose out a bit of time. Hopefully he's able to rejoin the back of the grid in time. But it is Colin in first place, who's, well, just been dominant all race really. But I want to see what Brent can do. Brent is also a really fast driver, and he's on fresh soft as well. So let's see when Colin is going to go. I'll ride on board with him. The slipstream effect is quite powerful here. And he goes just before the DRS board, and Brent is quite far behind. Boris is also trying to go up the inside of, or just defend from Dennis there. And well, Smoller is trying to go up the inside as well, and I think there's a bit of contact there. Sebastian, I think there might be a bit of contact with Sebastian and Captain Meisel. There's a spin for Bakker, unfortunately, in the McLaren. Dennis trying to go up the inside of Boris there, and well, there's a bit of contact there with Dennis and Boris. Dennis has the inside line into the S section. Boris trying to hang it round the outside. And Aston Martin of Banter Brandon is sticking his nose around the outside as well. Captain Maz also there, and that's a spin for Boris. Oh, and that's a spin for Spinotla as well. And, well, they were all fighting so hard there. But unfortunately resulting in a late crash with only 1 lap to go. And yeah, if they didn't crash, I think that would have been solid points for all of them, but unfortunately just fighting a bit too hard there at a collision between Boris and Spinotla, leaving them all the way down at the back of the grid. But Colin is going to start his last lap. There's no DRS to help Brent. Colin does have a bit more ERS. And Colin also has set the fastest lap. Banter Brandon getting up the inside of Dennis up into turn 1 and makes the move stick. Dennis also under a bit of pressure from Sebastian there, but Dennis not too close, not too far behind Banter Brandon. So if he could just, well, I mean, Dennis does have not too much ERS there compared to Banter Brandon, and losing out a bit of time. Sebastian now very close to Dennis there. Oh, Sebastian gets a bad exit, and that could cost Sebastian P4 on the track, but of course Dennis does have a penalty. Higgsy very close to Captain Maisel as well. But Colin then still under pressure from DTR Brent, but RPM Colin has just been leagues ahead of the rest tonight, as always really, checking out after safety car restart. And this safety car restart is able to control the field, and he does win in Bahrain from DTR Brent. Then Banter Brandon coming home in P3. Dennis, Sebastian and Dennis is very close on track there. Higgsy, then Craig, and then Becker, Deck, Lucist, and Spinotla. Unfortunately, he had a great race. He was in the podium for some time on his worn out tyres, but unfortunately with a very late incident costing him the valuable points. He's not going to get points anyway because he's a reserve driver, but just cost him a good race result there, unfortunately for the Mercedes driver. But Colin winning once again in high gear here in Bahrain. A great race on him, and I think a great race on Brent as well, who gets the driver of the day. Able to stick with Colin in the final lap, but just not able to get close enough to get past. So, but yeah, I think Bahrain is always a good track for league racing, as I said earlier. And I think this whole week has had some pretty decent races here. So that is going to be the race for today. Colin in P1 ahead of Brent in P2, and Colin with the fastest lap as well, just to add an extra point there. Then we've got Banter Brandon in P3, Sebastian in P4, Captain Maisel in P5, Dennis in P6, Higgsy in P7. I think Higgsy had a pretty solid race as well. Craig in P8, Becker in P9, and from spinning earlier, I think not a bad result to climb back up into P9. Deck in P10, unfortunately with a late incident. Lucas in P11, Smiltler again with a late incident in P12, and then we've got Boris in P13 who did DNF at the end in the pit lane. Then we've got FCT, Richard and Andrew all not finishing the race. So yeah, that's going to be it then. A great race tonight and we will be back next week for the low gear on Tuesday, mid gear on Wednesday, and high gear again on Thursday. And we're back at Saudi Arabia, so a new track on the RPM calendar. So I am definitely looking forward to that race. But for now, it's good night and see you next week.